working? Let's see. Morning, Dark Knight. How you doing? Can you hear me right now? I forgot the microphone is not actually on this. I'm going to have to get that set up. Unless the sound is okay as it is. What do you think?
Paleontologizing, it is
If
working
the sound is a little bit
5 by 5.
spotty, I might go back to the starting soon screen and put the mic on. Getting everything else all together, kind of forgot to put on the microphone. Can you hear me just great? Okay, clear. Is the sound quality as good as it usually is? Is it distractingly bad, or should we just continue on like this? Let me know. Can you hear me fine? Okay. Cool. Well, great. I'm just using the onboard microphone for the camera. So yeah, welcome everybody to Medicine Rocks State Park, way out in Carter County, Montana, outside the town of Ekalaka. We are going to see some pretty incredible geology. I'm really excited to show you. And again, this is my big antenna right here. I don't think I would be able to stream from here if it weren't for the signal booster and the antenna. So, yeah. This investment is paying off, so I'm happy for it. Can't Stop Line, good to see you. Blue Gentaro, hear you loud and clear. Thanks, Blue, I appreciate that. Yeah. And Balint, how are you doing? Great to see you. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let me show you just a few of the geological features that we're going to be exploring. The signal might cut in and out here because these might interfere with our cellular reception a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, this is Medicine Rocks State Park, outside of Ekalaka, Montana, way out in the middle of nowhere. This is really a very remote area. The nearest town is Ekalaka. It's a town of about maybe 400 people. It's really the only town in the whole county. So yeah, there's like probably fewer than 2,000 people in this entire county, and it's a pretty big county too. Definitely not a small place. So yeah, let's go see some of these really cool rock formations. So what we're looking at here are some big sandstone formations. These are from the rocks here represent the FU formation, the Fort Union. This is from just after the extinction of the dinosaurs. These rocks here. So they're about 61 million years old. So about 5 million years after the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct, these rocks were deposited. Jay Foolsguard, yeah, rocks indeed. Rocks indeed. I'm not going to be visiting any museums today, so I figured might as well try and do an outdoor live stream before I continue on, get back on the road, and go east toward Bozeman. So anyway, really cool rock formations here. Just the erosion is pretty incredible. Look at that little window. Very, very cool. Very cool. And so this is from an ancient fluvial environment. So like a fast-moving river. You can actually see the cross-bedding there. Some of these ripples. Look at that. Very cool. And there too, look at that banding. And there will be fossils in here too. I'm not going to collect any, obviously. Because this is public land. Yeah, we've got some nice conglomerates in here. This is from when this would have become a more high-energy environment for a while, so there was enough energy in the water, enough current to pull along little stones and stuff like this that all get deposited. But afterward, you know, when the energy level gets a little bit lower, you just get to like fine-grained sand like this. And this stuff it's not super resilient. I mean, it'll just come off like that as you brush it. And people will carve their initials into here. You can't even read this anymore because the stuff erodes really quickly. It's, yeah. So these are like kind of constantly changing shape. You got some other people carving their names up there too, and those will last for maybe a few years until it gets eroded away. Yeah, it's also why you don't see any lichen growing on here too. It just all erodes too quickly for that. You don't get too many plants on it either. Here's an exception. These are, what, like choke cherries maybe? Growing out of the side there. This all slumped down from up there. And so I guess it's like loose enough that plants can actually take root. Visuals are great today. Hey, Ironheart. Spoiled for streams this week. I'm going to try and stream every day if I can. This was kind of a surprise. I didn't think that I would have enough reception here to be able to stream. But here we are. So yeah, I'm pretty happy right now, if you can't tell. Here, check this out. We've got another lovely little, like natural bridge right there. This is so cool. Just look at this landscape. Medicine Rocks has been described as like an island in the middle of the prairie. And that's kind of what you're seeing right now. Very cool. Got a nice cave up there. I'm sure there's some critters living in there. Speaking of critters, you might notice what I've got on my hip right now. Just in case. I'm trying to get in the habit of carrying bear spray a little bit more often when I'm out in the backcountry. And this is a state park, so like there's people around. We shouldn't have a lot of mountain lions or bears or anything, but still, you know, I'm trying to get in the habit of this for when I do go out into the absolute middle of nowhere. Try to always have bear spray on me. It's just a good thing to have. It's a good habit to have, because you never know when you're going to need it. And especially with itinerant animals like pumas, mountain lions, cougars, whatever you want to call them. A lot of them are pretty hard pressed nowadays to find good territory and to find enough prey to survive. And so you might have a desperate one just kind of wandering around, and yeah. You never know when you'll encounter one. There was a mountain lion that made an appearance in downtown San Francisco. Just like walking through, caught on security camera. I think it was like last fall. So yeah, they like to wander, and they'll go just about as far as they can until they can't go anymore. In this case, this one made it all the way to like Fisherman's Wharf in downtown SF. And then it's like, well, there's the bay right there. And I don't think it knew that it could walk across the Golden Gate Bridge. That's about as far north as it could go. And then later it went down south to Santa Cruz, and I think maybe it got hit by a car or something down there. You can look it up, but anyway, cougars wander. You never know when you're going to see one. And I really hope that I see some. And bear spray helps me feel a lot more safe, that if it decides that I look like a good meal, I can hopefully deter it. So yeah. Yeah, rather have it and not need it. Exactly, Dark Knight. Exactly, yeah. And Cascade, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yeah. So I had a great time at the Dino Shindig yesterday. It took about 6 hours for me to get all the streaming equipment to work. So I missed all of the talks and everything, but, you know, that's okay. I came here to stream and perform my science outreach duty and hang out with all of you guys, and so that's what I did. Today, some of the attendees are going on some like little field trips around the area, like visiting different sites and stuff. It's mostly going to be like babysitting the visitors the whole time, and I wasn't really too keen on that. They didn't need my help for it, so I took off this morning. I just figured I might as well stop at Medicine Rocks and take a look around, see if we can do a stream. So here we are. There's some more of these wonderful rocks right there. Swiss cheese sort of a texture. We'll go see some more that are even more shot through with holes. But really cool stuff. So I've actually camped here before, back in 2012. And man, around sunset, this place is just magical. Sunrise too, I'm sure, but I didn't get here that early. Yeah, we'll go head over there and we'll see some of this stuff. Yeah. These are all ponderosa pines around me right now. We've got a lot of different pine species here in the U.S. And it's cool to see these. I'm not used to seeing like a lot of pine trees around this age of rocks. Stuff from like late Cretaceous or early Paleogene. But we've got them down here in southeast Montana, in Carter County. We've got a cool mix of kind of badlands topography and pine trees. Cool stuff. Let's head off in this direction, see some of these rocks. And Balint, you're still here, right? I've got my Roadside Geology of Montana book that you sent me. And before I left the car, I snapped a couple of photos of the Medicine Rocks, a little excerpt there. So I can read that aloud in a little bit. Very, very cool. Again, look at those nice striations up there. These crossbeds. Very cool. And you'll see a lot of these rocks are kind of sloped in that direction like that. It's subtle in some places, and it's more overt in other places. But that seems to be the direction of flow. Kind of flowing northeast. Excuse me. Yeah, northeast. I think that was the direction that these rivers were flowing, emptying out into the WIS, the Western Interior Seaway at the time. So, pretty neat. I think I remember that correctly. Yeah. See a couple of plants taking root up there. Very cool stuff. Let's go this way a little bit. It is, of course, illegal to carve your name into the rocks like this, but a lot of people do. The good thing is it erodes quickly enough that it's usually not much of an issue. And we've got a lovely butterfly over here. Ah, look at that. What is that? It's not a monarch. And it is not... I don't know if you saw it over there. Oh, here it comes. Yeah, it's not a monarch, it's not a viceroy. What is that? I don't know my butterflies well enough. Yeah. It's not a red admiral. It could be a viceroy butterfly, actually. I don't know too much about... I don't know. I'm a little rusty on my butterflies. We've got all kinds of hopping critters over here. Little grasshoppers. Man, if I weren't live streaming right now, I'd snap some photos for iNaturalist and log these, figure out what they are. And look, you got some more of that cross-bedding there. These little inclusions in the rock. Andrew was a little higher. And what's this? That might be some really crunched up fossil bone or something. I'm not gonna try and pry it out. Again, this is a state park. But take a look at that. Yeah. Very cool. Nice little conglomerate there. Yeah, you should be advised this is going to be a shorter stream today because it is supposed to get hot later, like 110 or something like that. And so I do not want this encoder overheating, even though it is, you know, very well ventilated right there. Still, I want to be cautious about this. So yeah. There, let's go off in this direction. Or maybe I'll walk up there. There's a truck right there. I don't want to get in anybody's way. So we'll go off over here. I'll walk right past my car. And hey, Aditya, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Having a great day so far. Here's my car. We'll go off in this direction and go see some more of these rocks. I wonder how ridiculous I must look right now to anybody who's just kind of passing through. What has that guy got strapped to his back? Same temperature as there. Man, Wanapata, that's nuts. That's nuts. Alright. I'm so glad I've got air conditioning in that vehicle. I've never had a vehicle with working AC before, so it is luxurious. I'm really looking forward to enjoying that on the drive east after this. Check out these rocks here. We've got some rock doves flying through. Non-native rock doves, but still very cool.
Stegosaurus, 25 feet long, weighing 4
got a little
tons.
ant mound. Let's pay a visit to these ants real quick.
He won a lot of arguments in his time, but very few beauty contests.
Hey, ant buds. Very cool. Some red ants. So they love to collect these little tiny stones like this. Makes a really nice roof for their home, for their colony. See a couple right there who are holding some. Just set it down. But they'll just collect these all day. And there's the entrance right there. I don't know if you can see in the camera. But, yeah. Pretty neat. So, I actually got a little story about this. Paleontologists, especially like Mesozoic mammal paleontologists, have a nice relationship with ants like this. So out here in like Cretaceous age sediments, you'll see ants and ant mounds like that. And the ants, of course, love to collect all these little stones. But to an ant, I mean, if something's like a durable little clast, like a stone or any little object, they want it, regardless of whether it's a rock or a fossil. And so people who are in search of really tiny fossils like that, little tiny fragments of mammal jaw, little mammal teeth, mammal elements, or amphibian teeth, amphibian jaws, any like little tiny fossils of little critters like that, ants will sometimes collect those, and they'll just put them on top of their ant mound, and just kind of create a smorgasbord for any paleontologist coming through. And Balint, are you here for this? I hope you are. This is right up your alley. I don't know what kind of ants these are, but you know, they make these earthen mounds, and yeah. I heard a story about Bill Clemens. Bill Clemens is like a legendary mammal paleontologist who's done a lot of work in the Hell Creek. A lot of the stuff that we know about Hell Creek mammals from the very end of the Age of Dinosaurs, that comes from Bill Clemens' work. And yeah, Bill, he actually just died back in November. Passed away. He was in his like late 80s, I think. But just a legend in vertebrate paleontology. And he worked at UCMP at Berkeley. And I used to see him all the time. He was always very, very polite. Always asked me how I was doing. This is somebody who's a giant in his field, and he would like take the time to say hello to a high schooler at the time. And always made me feel welcome, and a great guy. But somebody told me a story about Bill once. He was in the field looking for little mammal elements like that. And, well, this is a thing that he would always do. When he would come across an ant mound like that, I'll let this car go by. I'll go up in this direction. Into the shade, trying to stay cool. So anytime Bill was out in the field looking for little mammal fossils like that in the Hell Creek or in the Fort Union, he'd stumble across ant mounds, and he'd go and inspect them on hands and knees and look for any little treasures that the ants had collected for him. And, of course, the ants worked very, very hard to bring these elements up to the ant mounds. And Bill would always be very sweet about it. He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm taking parts of your roof." But he always used to keep a little package of crackers in his breast pocket. And he'd take one of the crackers out and smush it up a little bit. Just kind of leave it there as an offering for the ants, as a thank you for all of their hard work. And then he would take these little ancient mammal pieces, and he'd log them, and they'd go into collections, and yeah. He used to say, I think, not positive, but I've heard before that, like, on some of the collections labels, it would say collected by W.A. Clemens and ants. I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, as I was telling this story, there was a rabbit that just hopped by, and there it is right there. We'll see how close we can get to it without scaring it. I don't want to ruin a rabbit's morning, but I would love you to be able to see this little cottontail rabbit. Hey, rabbit friend. There you go. Have a good day. Stay cool. Yeah. Oh, bunnies are fun. Man, take a look at these rocks. Beautiful. As I was saying, these are rocks from the Fort Union Formation. So these are from just after the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs. These are about 61 million years old. And you don't find too many fossils in here, but there's bits and bobs of stuff. And look, we do have some lichen growing on this one. This is probably iron-rich enough that it doesn't erode all that quickly, and you actually have little bits of white lichen growing on it. And darker lichen, too. Go take a look. It's kind of cool where, like, plant growth or the growth of lichen or other stuff can give you a clue as to how quickly this stuff is eroding, or how slowly. This stuff is eroding slowly enough that lichens can actually survive on it. Pretty neat. And here's some more of that beautiful kind of Swiss cheese texture. Take a look at this. All naturally occurring. There's birds that will actually nest in these little crevices. The first time that I came here, I wondered to myself, like, are any of these carved out by animals? Turns out no. It is just kind of a product of how the rocks were formed. They erode in this way. I think some of these might actually be the remnants of ancient, well, I guess they would be animal produced, but not produced by modern animals. Produced by the burrowing ancient animals. Riverbed here, 61 million years ago. And so clearly, this would get filled in with sediments. It's not like this has been neat. What do you think about that? Isn't that cool? Yeah. And Dr. Greg, hey, great to have you here. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day so far. It sounded like a bug buzzing, but it's just the cable on my antenna rubbing back and forth. Let's go off in this direction. See some of this cool stuff. Swallows, exactly, Captain James. Yes, swallows. Barn swallows, and there might be some cliff swallows around here, too. Usually cliff swallows are a little bit greener and smaller than barn swallows. Barn swallows are kind of a darkish blue. And they've got like orange bellies. Cliff swallows are usually kind of a bluish green, dark bluish green. And I think they tend to be a little bit smaller than barn swallows. Some more of this. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful texture there. Really cool. This is a spot that was really famous and really well known to and very popular with the first people to live in this area, the Plains Indians. I think that's where the name Medicine Rocks comes from. This is considered a sacred place.
Really spectacular. Spared
Just
no
on a
expense.
practical level too.
Aditya
Again, this is like an
Joker
island in the
gifted
middle of
TV
the
Robi a
prairies. This is a great lookout
Aditya
spot.
Joker gifted a tier
People
1
who are
sub to
after
TV Robi.
buffalo,
They
or
have given
wanted to
17
look
gift
out
subs in the
for
channel.
maybe enemies approaching. This is a great place to be because it kind of gives you a nice panorama of the surrounding area. Some of these buttes and hoodoos formations are like 80 feet tall, and provides a pretty good vantage point for kind of surveying the prairie. So yeah. Hopefully we've still got signal right now. I'm tempting fate by walking in among these rocks. I should be more out in the open. Maybe we can clamber to the top of some of them. I can give you a look around. Can anybody still see or hear me right now? Hopefully you can. Well, let's go to the top of here. Very cool. Wow. What a neat place to be. I've not seen any new messages for a minute. I'm afraid the signal may have cut out. Let me go spot. Get some better reception here. It says disconnected. Hopefully it'll reconnect soon. Alright, are we back? Not yet, it appears. And hey, we're back? Okay, good. Sorry about that. Again, way out in the absolute middle of nowhere right now. So I'm really impressed we can do a stream at all. But, thank you for your patience, everybody. So we lost signal there. Let's continue off in this direction. We could see you all the time. Oh, okay, Gertuspaka. Well, cool. I guess my, again, I'm running 3 different wireless modems right now off of mobile data. And the one, the like little MiFi puck that my phone connects to and reads chat from, that must have gone offline for a minute there. Yeah. So that's good to know. The other one is a Verizon modem, and Verizon is king in this area. That's the one network that really works in eastern Montana, at least in most places. I lived in Montana for 8 years, and I had AT&T the entire time. And that was pretty awful. Anytime I'd leave Bozeman or any other like major town, there's no signal all of a sudden. And there are, of course, places in the state where you can't get any cell service at all, it seems. But Verizon's the one that everybody seems to have around here, because it's the one that works most often. Paramedics Underground says, so far my favorite stream you've done today. Thanks, Paramedics. Wow. Do you dislike dinosaurs? Because this has been the one with the least amount of dinosaur content so far, probably. Yeah. Look at these rocks.
The world's first armored tank, you might say. That trunk is completely covered with thin, bony
Here,
plates.
toward the end of the stream, I'll sit down in the shade and maybe train the camera on some rocks. And I can read to you the little passage about medicine rocks from the Roadside Geology of Montana book, which Balint so generously provided to me. It was on my Amazon wish list, and he got it for me, which is awesome. Great book. The second edition is not only updated, but it's in color, so like the geological maps are all really useful. Geological maps are very colorful. They're color-coded. And so, yeah. But anyway, so much more comprehensive than the first edition. I didn't know what I was missing before with the old one. But great book, highly recommend it. Roadside Geology of Montana. Some more of these rocks. Very cool. Very, very cool. Of course, there are campgrounds over here. I think that might be the one where I stayed back in 2012. Looks about right. Yeah. Such a special place. Feel really lucky to be here. And I have time to stop and stream. Because I don't necessarily have to be anywhere else today at a certain time. So, feeling of freedom is just beautiful. I love it. This is how a road trip should be, you know? Oh, and thank you, Private 23. A DTO card gifted a tier 1 sub to TV Roby. Wait, are you copying and pasting the notifications there? Thank you, Private 23. Welcome to Paleontologizing, by the way. Hope you're having a good day so far. Here we go. These are some of the most famous little rocks here, medicine rocks. These are the ones you see on the postcards, I think. I'm sure each of these have different names. I don't know them. But, yeah. Very cool. Oh, and that one doesn't have any bullet holes in it. At the entrance to the park, they had that same sign. It's just shot full of shotgun holes. When I was walking through here, there's all these grasshoppers hopping out of the way. Seems like they're in the middle of a population boom right now. These guys have like crazy boom and not boom and bust cycles, but they have times where they're just absolutely everywhere. Back in 2011, when I was working in the Hell Creek, we had grasshoppers just by the millions. And one of our crew members, Nate Carroll actually, who grew up here in Carter County, he had a bunch of us walking around with like plastic shopping bags, just picking up grasshoppers, and then he fried them up for us to try. I had a few of them, and really, they're okay. They kind of taste like popcorn, but just more bland,
Wrench Stallion
more crunchy.
A subscription. Blue Gintero gifted a tier 1 sub to Wrench Stallion.
I don't know if you guys can still see or hear me, but chat has gone dead for a second. So, I hope the stream hasn't cut out.
It's a dinosaur.
Anyway. Inyan Oka Laka. The Sioux aptly named Medicine Rock's Inyan Oka Laka, a rock with a hole in it. I like it. Evidence suggests the ancestors of modern-day American Indians lived and hunted in southeastern Montana, beginning at the end of the last ice age, or about 12,000 years ago. The summers were cooler then. Oh, that sounds nice. And large mammals such as woolly mammoths made for a bountiful harvest.
On
Oh,
formal
and cool. We
occasions,
actually
he's called
got
Brontosaurus.
some archaeological
Big fella,
evidence
isn't he?
from this time.
70 feet long. Tips
As the
the
climate warmed
scales
over the
at a
next few thousand
substantial
years, mammoths and other
35
prehistoric
tons.
mammals became extinct. American Indians relied on buffalo for food, shelter, clothing, and tools. While hunting on the prairie around Medicine Rocks, the Northern Cheyenne, Sioux, Gros Ventre, Assiniboine, Crow, Shoshone, and Arapaho tribes sought shelter among the sandstone formations and gathered edible and medicinal plants growing in the sandy soil. Wow. Cool stuff. I mean, when you're in a place like this, it's really not difficult to imagine that. It seems so much more recent, so much more immediate. Look at this. What a special place. Very, very cool. I hope you can still see me right now. I can't see chat. Let me check something. Oh, yeah, okay, gotcha. Oh, and... Cool, Lordy, thank you. Oh, wait, hang on. No, that was a text from earlier. Sorry, I'm just taking a break to make sure that I am still live right now. I wish I could see the bit rate. I'm just going to assume that things are still going, though. I can't see chat right now. And if things aren't still going, this is still going to be a lovely hike. And I will have been talking to myself for a little while. But no big loss. Very cool. Look at that. I love when the holes just kind of shoot straight through. And you can see daylight on the other side. That's such an ephemeral thing. I mean, the rock won't be like that for very long. This stuff erodes quickly enough that, like, lichens and stuff can't really take root for the most part.
No expense.
Blue
So this is-
Gintero gifted PVT
At least
23
geologically
a subscription.
speaking, this is a constantly
Blue Gintero
changing
gifted
sort of
a tier 1
environment.
sub to PVT 23. They have given 2 gift subs in the channel.
And Lordy just texted
Hello,
to say
I'm
that I'm
Samuel
live.
from Jurassic
Thank you.
Park. Let's
Lordy.
protect
I appreciate
our
that.
fossils, because if they're removed,
It's a boost to my
America
confidence
loses
here.
them.
I'm going to scoot through here. Hopefully I don't lose you guys with the signal. I'm going to turn like this to keep from nailing all these tree branches with my antenna mast. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Ooh, check that out. You guys see that bird? Woodpecker? What is that? It's not a northern flicker. A big red head on it. Really, really just crimson red. I don't know what that was. I'll have to look that up. Oh. And there's a rock dove just hanging out over there. You see her? Very cool. A feral pigeon. You know, those guys evolved in Africa, and they were introduced to the U.S. Same pigeons that you see in cities. But they originally evolved to live in environments a lot like this. I think that's why they're called rock doves. It's because this is kind of their habitat. There's a bird over there. It's probably our same woodpecker. Making noises. Yeah. Yeah. Open up chat again. Still says I'm disconnected. Drat. That's fine. Wow. What a cool place. Another cottontail rabbit. Hey there, bud. How you doing? I'm not gonna hurt you. Just here to film you. I do not want to eat you. Ooh, there's some more of those. What are they? What are those? Some kind of woodpecker. Not sure what kind though. I'll have to look that up. Maybe when I leave. Or somebody could look it up right now. What kind of big woodpecker do we have in Carter County, Montana, near Ekalaka? That it's got a bright, just like crimson head. Almost looked like the whole head was red. We've got these really cool plants too. Kind of remind me of agave or something like that. I wonder if they're related. Again, I don't know. Don't know nearly enough about plants. We've got a lovely butterfly hanging there, doing some feeding. Hey, butterfly. Very cool stuff. Here's another one of these. I think I remember taking a picture inside of this hollow right over here. Let's go over and see. Wow. Very cool. It's kind of a natural tunnel. It almost feels like a playground structure, but for adults. Yeah. Pretty neat. Again, I don't want to hit anything with the radio mast, so we'll go around for now. Or maybe, you know what? If I grab it like this, I think we can direct it in such a way that I don't scrape anything. Let's see here. Very cool. Yeah, nice. Cool. Yeah, still can't see chat, so if anybody's enthusing or asking questions or complaining, sorry, I can't see or hear you. Just out here enjoying this magical place right now. All these pine cones on the ground, that's that crunching noise. These are, I think, ponderosa pines. Maybe I'll look at the VOD later and see if I can ID these. I'm pretty sure these are ponderosa pines. And check out that landscape there. That fence line, I presume, probably denotes the limits of the state park. That's probably all private land over there. So I think we might be approaching the boundaries of where we can go here. But, you know, let me head up that way. And we'll be in the presence of these big cool rocks for a little while longer before I turn around and head back to the car. And then read you a little bit about Medicine Rocks, why this is such a special place. You've heard me musing about it for a while. Oh, check that out. That pillar out there. Very cool. Very cool. I bet you each of these have different names. Kind of like different features in Yellowstone or Yosemite or Zion or arches or natural bridges. Oh, I had some... What were those? Shoot, they're not rock wrens. Yeah, it's a little dove-like bird. Not a mourning dove, it was something else. Yeah, rusty on my Montana birds. I used to be a lot better at this. Some more rock doves. Very cool. Very, very cool.
But the paleontologist field isn't narrow to what we
see.
understand. On the contrary, we stretch our
I think
understanding
that
to
is
try and
exactly what
take in
this
the
antenna
universe.
is for, yeah. This is a signal booster. And it's funny, when I was telling Chad about this before I got it, some people were like, "Oh, Danny, that's a scam. You know, don't get it. Those things don't work." I would not be able to stream right now if it were not for this. It works brilliantly. And I think more proof is that, again, it's been like 8 years since I've been to Montana, since I've been to this part of the country. When I moved away to California, you know, I haven't been back since.
This is Laura Dern of Jurassic Park.
But in the
Digging
time
up
since
dinosaurs
that,
is hard, frustrating
like
work.
every
it takes
rancher
months
out
or
here
years. So leave
who
it
drives
to
a truck on the
professionals.
highway, you see one of these coming out of the cab of their truck. So everybody out here uses them. And I am really glad that I decided to get one, or I would not be able to do this stream right now. Like, yeah, I'd probably have maybe like 1 bar of service. Instead, I'm getting a lot more. I mean, I can test this using an app on my phone, where you can like, you can test the strength of like cell data, and you flip the thing on, put the phone next to it, and just instantly, boom! As soon as this boots up, you can see when the little light turns green, the signal just gets so much better. So, yeah, really glad I have this thing. Look at these beautiful sandstone here. So you can see, maybe you can see those little sparkles in it. Those are bits of quartz. It's a very quartzy sand. And so when the sunlight hits this during sunset, man, it's just a glow. It's gorgeous. I got the mast stuck in the tree. Let's go off in this direction.
It's a dinosaur.
So cool. So again, for anybody who just came in a little while ago, I'm here in Medicine Rock State Park outside of Ekalaka, Montana, way out in the middle of nowhere. And these are the Medicine Rocks right here. Really well known for these naturally occurring holes that happen in them because of erosional processes and because of like different consistencies in the rock here. And these rocks are about 61 million years old from the beginning of the age of mammals. Just about 5 million years, so really soon after the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs. So unfortunately, we won't see any evidence of dinosaurs in these rocks. But you know what? They're so beautiful, I forgive them. It's the best way to clamber up here when wearing this big, ridiculous rig. Here we go. All right, check this out. Pretty impressive, right? Oh, man. That's another postcard picture right there. So cool. Again, just like islands in the middle of the prairie. So if you're wondering where we are, well, for anybody, oh, hang on, got some romance with some grasshoppers right here. Hey there, grasshoppers. Oh no, TOS, TOS. For anybody who might be wondering, anybody especially who's not from the States,
So you do
wondering where in the world I am right now,
dinosaur?
Montana is a state, it's one of the ones that borders Canada.
Squilky
in the
and
northern
their 21
US.
raiders wanna know what it's like.
On the western side, it's mostly mountains and valleys and that sort of thing. On the eastern side, it's kind of rolling hills and prairie, much like this. So we are almost as far east as you can go in Montana. And in the southern part of the east. So we're in southeast Montana, near Ekalaka. That's where I was yesterday for the Dino Shindig. And I decided to split early and hit the road and, of course, passed through here. I thought I might as well do a stream. So, I'm so glad this is working right now. This is pretty special to be able to share with you. I'm having a great time here. Yeah. 45th parallel, I think I'm just below the 45th parallel here. Oh, no, not parallel. Oh, no, yeah, they would be parallels. Yeah, latitude. What am I thinking? Yeah. It's a lot drier out here than in Michigan. It certainly is. Let's see. Looks so lonely over there, Javasaurus. You have no idea. There are fewer people in Carter County. I don't know. This is a big county. It's probably the size of some U.S. states. Like, this is probably bigger than, like, Delaware. This county. Bigger than the whole state of Delaware. And there's, like, maybe 2,000 people who live in the entire county. Ekalaka, the town I was in yesterday, has a population maybe approaching 400. They are eagerly awaiting the results of the 2020 census. Yeah. So, very remote. I mean, as far as the eye can see, only a few signs of civilization. There's some grain silos way out there. You see a few fences.
Do you
but
think dinosaurs
I'm sure at night
are put together correctly?
you might
The
see
bones.
one or two little blinking red lights
You're smart. What do you
from like a radio mast.
do a research on that, Oliver.
Apart from that, just nothing.
This is Laura Dern of Jurassic Park.
Starting to get a
Digging
little
up
bit wind,
dinosaurs
too. I
is
hope that
hard,
doesn't,
frustrating
throw
work.
off our
It
sound
takes
too
months or
Certainly
years,
feels
so
good.
leave it to
Oh,
the
man.
professionals.
But yeah. Thank you, Wanapata. 45.8889 degrees north. There we go. Yeah. Everest Clara says, I live in a heavily wooded area. Seeing something this empty is weird. I mean, I'm not used to seeing this many trees in an area that has rocks of this age. I've done a lot of work in the Hell Creek Formation, where you might look at a landscape like this, and there's patches of grass and patches of sagebrush, and then it's just bare rock, no trees anywhere. Maybe there's a couple of cottonwood trees off in the distance or something. But this is, I don't know. It's an abnormal number of trees compared to what I'm used to when I'm out in Montana and looking at rocks of this age. So yeah. How many people do we have watching right now, I wonder? Should I read that little thing about Medicine Rocks? Yeah. You can't swing a cat out there or you hit a Triceratops? Exactly, Javasaurus. Well, the American phrase is you can't swing a dead cat without... I don't want any cats to die for the sake of a metaphor. So, really, I had to modify it too, so I'm not swinging a cat, because I doubt cats want to be swung. 149. Wow, very nice. Thank you, Orange Boy. Thank you, Claire. That's awesome, yeah. And is the wind bad? Is he? I hope it's not. And you're right, Java. Should not swing any cats. All right, let's continue a little bit over here, and then I'll find a nice spot to sit in the shade. Maybe with a view of the rocks, and I'll read to you a little bit about Medicine Rocks. Why this is such a special place. Yeah, look at that promontory over there. That's so cool. That sounds like a rock wren. Man, I miss that sound. Hear that all the time in eastern Montana. Back when I was doing field work. There's another bird. I don't know if it's a rock wren or something else, but we used to call them laser birds because they make like a pew 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 noise. Sounds like some sort of low-budget Star Wars knockoff Foley effect. Grasshoppers flew into my face. Very cool. Massive sandstone blocks. These have got to be really ferrous, really iron rich. They're really hard, so they don't erode very quickly. So you actually have lichens growing on them. Right here. Beautiful orange lichen. Lots of different kinds of lichens. But in most of these rocks, they erode so quickly that lichen can't even survive on it, just because, like the rock that it would stick to just crumbles away and turns to dust. I'm guessing we probably lose maybe like 1/8 of a centimeter each year from all these rocks. That's what results in those beautiful weathering patterns. I mean, look at that. Just gorgeous. Alright. I think now might be as good a time as any to share with you that little excerpt from the Roadside Geology book. So let me find that real quick. Took some photos of it before I left the car. Let's see. There we are. Alright, right. So it says, Medicine Rocks is a fairyland of broken towers on the Ekalaka member of the Fort Union Formation. The Fort Union, of course, is just younger than the last of the non-avian dinosaurs. It's from right after the big extinction event. And, yeah, we would always call it the FU Formation. Fort Union, FU. But it's like, you looking for dinosaurs? FU. You're not going to find them here in the Fort Union. But yeah. Pale beige outcrops, 30 to 80 feet high, cluster over a few acres of a low hill. Each outcrop has steep sides and a surface etched into the weird, pockmarked hollows that leave the rock looking like Swiss cheese. Crossbedding, a faint layering of the vertical facies... a faint layering at gentle angles to the overall nearly horizontal layering of thicker beds is visible in the vertical facies of the monuments. The crossbeds here look like they were formed in sandy rivers. Around 61 million years ago, a freshwater river flowed to the southeast into the western interior seaway. That's the WIS, this big seaway that kind of split North America in two during the last part of the age of dinosaurs and the first part of the age of mammals, the WIS, back when Kansas and Nebraska and the Dakotas were at the bottom of a shallow tropical sea. It was located in northwestern South Dakota at the time, this seaway. The river carried fine-grained quartz in sand channels that migrated back and forth, forming trough-shaped crossbeds as the grains bounced down the river. The river was influenced by tidal flow in the seaway to the east, and vertical burrows from animals that lived in a tidally dominated estuary occur in harder sandstones that cap the river deposits, showing that the sea expanded to inundate the river. That is really cool. We can actually tell that about this environment. Like, we can figure out what was going on, you know? Again, this is why geology is kind of magical. It's really like time travel. I mean, somebody can look at these rocks, study them carefully, and tell you what was going on in these ancient ecosystems. Just tell a story about what the landscape looked like and how it changed over thousands and then millions of years. Really incredible. This environment was rich in plants and animals, as shown by the fossils of leaves, wood, snakes, amphibians, crocodiles, mammals, and primate-like mammals. and distinctive scales from alligator gar. They're not actually alligator gar in the Fort Union. Alligator gar are the ones that are alive today, but these are very similar to alligator gar. We just call them gar. They're either Lepisosteus or Atracosteus. I forget the genus name. But, yeah. Not alligator gar per se. A fish that could breathe both air and water and could live in both fresh and salty water. They are still around today, considered a living fossil because they remain almost unchanged. Superficially, yeah, almost unchanged. If you were to, catch an alligator gar in modern-day Louisiana and then compare that to a fossil from, the Paleocene, from rocks of this age, they look very, very similar. It's because they've been doing the same ecological job for, 70 million years. They haven't needed to really change their body shape all that much in the time since then. So, yeah. Because there are no small stream channels in the area today, the Medicine Rocks towers appear to be remnants left by erosional processes not related to running water. That's really interesting. So the reason that we have all of these rocks up here is kind of jutting out of the surrounding prairie. Normally when you get something like this, it's because you have a river or a stream that's kind of cutting down through it and then causing this really weird that's why you get weird geological features like this, is because you have something cutting through it. That's how the Grand Canyon was formed. But here, that's not the case. This is probably, wouldn't be glacial either, I don't think. It might be Aeolian, or just like rainfall. These rocks happen to be more resilient than all the surrounding stuff that's now covered with topsoil. And, yeah. Because there doesn't seem to be a lot of, there's no major rivers going by, there's no streams or anything. So yeah. Kind of bizarre that you'd get that sort of a feature in a place where you don't have water features like that. Yeah. Good clue to one of the processes of erosion is the tendency of the towers to stand in the middle of a closed depression, like miniature castles within their moats. Here, I gotta turn this one around. Hang on a minute. I can't read it sideways. Oh, no, I can. Alright. Impossible for any processes of water erosion that operates on the ground surface to transport material away from the rocks without first filling those depressions to create a downhill path. However, it's easy to imagine the strong high plains winds howling around these rocks, whipping sand away from their bases to create the depressions. So yeah, like I said, Aeolian erosion. The erosion, caused by wind. Pretty cool. And it is very easy to imagine that. Looking at it there, we can get incredibly high winds in this part of the country, and it was probably like that even more so during the Pleistocene, during the last ice age. So you can just imagine these winds whipping through and just scouring all this stuff away. Yeah. Interesting stuff. But that was an interesting point, too, that they made, that there's, like, troughs or moats around most of these. And if they were, eroded by water, you would expect to find lots of this material kind of settled down into those troughs. But we don't see that. Pretty interesting. This is how geology can be like detective work. Broad, flat surfaces on the sides of the same rock structures may represent former joints or fractures in the sandstone. Fractures widen to form fins of rock, which erode away. Which develop holes that widen into windows and eventually arches. We saw a few of those arches today. As surrounding rock erodes away, fractured rock can evolve into hoodoos. Anybody here know what hoodoos are? Basically, that's kind of like a hoodoo over there. That would be a really big one. But you've got kind of a hard capstone on the top, and then if the stuff underneath it is softer and erodes more easily, then that kind of gets scoured away until it forms kind of an hourglass shape, with like a capstone at the top. And eventually, the stuff in between gets eroded away to the point where it just collapses, and you just get like big like ironstone nodule kind of at an angle down there. That might well be the fate of that feature a few thousand years from now. But for the time being, Just standing proudly right there. You'll see the same thing going on over here. Like, there's the start of a hoodoo over there. That might also become a hoodoo eventually. See with the kind of shelves at the top. Yeah. Cool stuff. Large blocks of freshly fallen rock litter the ground and show that this process of joint failure has played a very important role in the formation and separation of the Medicine Rock structures over time. The holes in the towers themselves are caused by alkali-rich groundwater seeping up into the porous sandstone and drying out. I didn't know that. Allowing the dissolved salts that we see in some of the cavities to crystallize and pop out individual grains to form tiny cavities. Rainwater seeping in and freezing on cold winter nights would help enlarge the cavities, as would wind blowing out loose sand grains. It's easy to watch detached sand grains from the rocks simply by rubbing it with your hand, and there is clear evidence that sand grains are coming off the rock naturally at a fast rate. We saw that ourselves. I could just rub the sand over here. I'll show you again. And, yeah, it just comes right off. Of course, this stuff is really resilient, all covered with lichen. It does not erode easily, but I'll show you some much softer stuff that certainly does. There we go. Like this right here. This is nice and hard up here. See the lichen growing on it? But this is much more friable. You can get little bits of sand in there that just come right off. So I guess it's that difference in hardness between the really hard stuff and the much softer stuff helps form a lot of these really cool features. Many visitors to the area deface the rocks by carving their names, and inscriptions become unreadable within a few years. Many visitors to... I took a picture of this, and it's like at an angle, so it's kind of tough to read. It's like hard to follow the lines. Many visitors to the area deface the rocks by carving their names and the date, but doing so is prohibited. The rock sheds its surface so rapidly that those inscriptions become unreadable within a few years. I was just telling you about that at the beginning of the stream. There are no crusty outgrowths of lichens on the Medicine Rocks, except in these spots. Apparently because the surfaces disintegrate too rapidly for such slow-growing plants to survive. Are lichens plants? I thought lichens were like a weird hybrid of plants and fungi and, like photosynthetic bacteria and stuff like that. Medicine Rocks was considered a sacred place by the Plains Indians, who used it for religious gatherings and camped here as far back as 11,000 years ago. They left pictographs and petroglyphs illustrating their experiences and beliefs. Please be respectful of this special place and leave it as you found it. We are certainly doing that today. And I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this broadcast. We'll see if we can raid somebody if my internet here is working. Let's see here.
Do you think
it's
dinosaurs
not. I might walk
are
to a
put
spot where I've got better
correctly?
reception.
The bones. You're
Must be
smart.
sign into the network now.
Do a research on
Does this not
that,
work? Ah, it is.
Oliver. I never.
There we go. Hopefully I've got enough signal here. Yeah. It will be snow covered here in a few months, True Zen. Yes. And yeah. And Henny's, yeah. Geology, especially geology in this part of the world, is filled with all these really catastrophic stories. I might be doing a stream from Yellowstone. We'll see if I can do that in about a week or so. And be happy to talk about that. But let me find a spot where I'll actually get enough reception that we can find somebody to raid. And then I'll wrap this stream up properly. But for the time being, stick with me, and we will see some other very cool rocks through here. Yeah, grasshoppers just flying directly into my face. Wow. Pretty cool. A special spot. Alright, this is where I came up. I don't know if there's a better spot to... Oh, that'll work. Yeah. Normally I'd be jumping around all over the place here, but I've got a 5-foot radio mast strapped to me right now. Kind of throws off my center of gravity. Throws off my balance a little bit. Yeah, beautiful. Medicine rocks. Oh, pretty neat. Beautiful commentary right there.
Dinosaurs now.
Again, just like the natural
Thanks for the great views, Danny.
Just gorgeous. And welcome to Montana, everybody. One of my favorite places in the world. Montana. And we'll go approach this and take a look. Look at that. These are some of the biggest crevices that I've seen so far. These nooks and crannies. Sneak into here where it's nice and cool. I might lose signal. It's worth the risk to take a look around. Wow. Oh, nice and cool back here. Nice breeze. Feels good. Feels very good. Yeah, look at that. And if I didn't have all this gear on, I'd clamber through that right now. Very cool. Very soft sandstone through here. I mean, like it just kind of falls down. All that dust. That's funny. I've never in a place have I been happy to see Fort Union sandstone. Because in the field, it's always, you know, Fort Union. We've been looking in the Fort Union for the past couple minutes. I thought we were still in the Hell Creek. There's no dinosaurs in the Fort Union. This is just after their extinction. But man, is this a beautiful Fort Union spot. Fort Union Formation, 61 million years old. Just from the very beginning of the age of mammals. Very cool. And look at that. again, I still can't see chat at all. The modem that I have chat running off of, I guess, is not getting any signal. I hope you guys can still see this right now. It's magical. Imagine this at sunset.
But the paleontologist field isn't narrow to what we understand. On the contrary, we stretch our understanding to try and take in the universe.
Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Hopefully the modem reconnects. I go over here. I can go ahead and end the stream and do a raid. Catch up to chat. It's been so much fun. I'm so glad I decided to stop. I was this close to just continuing on to Billings. But nah. Let's see if we can put this signal booster to the test. See if it works out here. Luckily it has. I'm very, very lucky that it's gone this well. And the streaming rig is working now. Figured out the camera. The thing is, you can't connect the camera to the encoder the way that it's supposed to be connected. You've got to leave it really loosey-goosey in a way where it seems like the cable's just about to fall out. That's the only way it'll work properly. One of those cases where following the directions doesn't actually get you anywhere. Alright. Let's see. Come on, phone. Phone's not cooperating. Alright. Heading off over there.
But the paleontologist field isn't narrow to what we
Cool stuff.
understand.
Starting to get really thirsty.
On the
I didn't bring
contrary,
any
we
water with
stretch
me,
our
so I've got it in
understanding
the
to
car
try
over
and
there.
take in the universe.
What a beautiful spot. So if you're ever out here in eastern Montana and you're looking for a good place to camp, check out Medicine Rock State Park. It's $8 to get in if you don't have Montana license plate. And I don't know how much it is to camp, but you could probably call ahead and figure it out. It would be well worth the effort. I've stayed here before, and it's pretty great. I'll pause for a second, see if I can figure out why my phone is not responding all of a sudden. Did it overheat? Maybe it overheated. It's a black phone in direct sunlight. Probably didn't appreciate that. I hear a truck coming, I'm gonna go over into the rocks. Pretty cool. Give the phone a few minutes to cool down. still good with this. Ugh. Yep, says we're still live. It's good. The encoder is not burst into flames. Always a good thing. Look at these. Got some more vehicles coming. Get up out of their way. Old ponderosa pine, which was cut down. You can see, nice clean cuts. I'm sure it was on its way out anyway. Trees like this have a finite lifespan. And I guess in a state park, once they get a little bit older, nearing the end of their natural lifespan, you got to cut them down rather than risk them falling down and squishing a family vacationing from Ohio. Just think of all the paperwork you'd have to do if that were to happen as a parks employee. Something to be avoided. Look at that. This is pretty recent. Wow, all this just sloughed off of here. Again, this is a dynamic place. Doesn't look like it squished anybody who was carving their names into there. Could be a good or a bad thing, depending on your perspective. But yeah. Just sheared off the side there. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Very dynamic environment we've got here. It's might look static, but like just about anything else in the world of geology, there is constant motion. Might be slower than you could perceive as a mere mortal, but stuff's moving, stuff's shaking, stuff's changing, as always. If you want to help perceive those changes, learn about them, be able to spot them in the field, all it takes is a little bit of geological know-how to transcend mere mortality. Kind of have your mind in a different space. You know, looking at the world in a different way. That's what geology and paleontology are all about. Looking at the world from a different perspective.
Orbital Gun _ gifted McHugh a subscription. Orbital Gun _ gifted a tier 1 sub to McHugh.
Still doesn't want to start up. I might have to use my computer to go ahead and do the raid. These grasshoppers hopping out of the way.
The world's first armored tank, you might
Prius
say.
right over there.
That trunk is completely covered with thin, bony plates.
Let's see. Hopefully I should be able to set up the tripod with the camera. Take this pack off. What's it doing? Phone. You might not even need to take the pack off in order to get this set up. Get some water too. Priority number 1. Oh. Get some water. And a mineral taste to the water here in eastern Montana. It's well water. There's like a little hint of sulfur in there. Not nearly as bad as in like Jordan, Montana, where I've done a lot of field work, but there the water is like undrinkable. I'd heard a story from one of the CCM rangers or employees. Or not CCM, CMR, Charles M. Russell, National Wildlife Refuge. She had just moved to Jordan, Montana a little while before then, from Georgia. She moved there with her dogs, and people are like, they're telling her, yeah, we don't drink the tap water here in Jordan. She's like, okay, everybody drinks bottled water. I hate the idea of like having to drink bottled water. Ugh. But she, when she got there, she's like, oh yeah, okay, I might drink bottled water, but when I'm giving water to the dogs, fill up their bowls with, tap water, like you always do for dogs. So she gave her dogs this water. They didn't really want to drink it at first, and then when they were thirsty, they just went for it. Apparently the dogs had horrible diarrhea for days after that. So she's like, okay, after this, bottled water for the dogs, too. Poor dogs. Yeah. I don't know what kind of dogs they were. I picture they're like bloodhounds or something. I have no idea. Alright, where's my laptop? The phone's not working for me right now. I gotta resort to other means to do this raid. Oh, there it is. There we go. Get this set up. This right here. Like that. Hopefully the computer will connect. Let's see here.
Do you think dinosaurs are put together
It's
correctly?
connected.
The bones. You're smart. What do you think?
All right.
Do a research on
It's
that.
been a great stream.
Oliver.
Really glad I decided to do this. Really glad it worked out. Wasn't sure it would. I was certainly not sure it would. But it did. And we lucked out. Says no internet. Connected, secured. No internet. No! How are we going to make this work? If Ios is here in the chat, I think she might have extreme editor rights to be able to make that work. It looks like my phone is overheated. Can't do it there. We might not be able to do a raid today, friends. I apologize. But if Claire or anybody watching right now, if I'm still live, you want to organize an impromptu raid for somebody who's there right now doing their thing, then that would be really good. I'm not sure I'll be able to end the stream properly without being able to connect to the internet. So I might just have to turn off the encoder, and then that's how we'll do it for today. So yeah, that's how we're going to do this. So everybody, thank you for joining me here at Medicine Rock State Park. It has been an awesome time. I'm heading east, eventually making it to Bozeman. I'll be doing some streams from there. Tomorrow I might even do a stream from, well, between you and me, I'd like to do a stream from Zoo, Montana, the state zoo in Billings, and I think that would be pretty neat. So tune in tomorrow morning if you would like to see that, and hopefully I'll have it up and running. Till then, everybody, you have a great rest of your day. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye-bye, everybody.
We didn't come here to fight with monsters. We came here to find fossils.